Hi, how are you? Welcome back to my channel. So excited to hear because we're talking about my top 10 books of 2025. All of these are horror except for one. These are in really no order. I debated on trying to put them in order of favorite, least favorite to favorite, but it was so hard to do that. There was just no way. So I really didn't. They're in a very loose order, okay? A very loose order. So don't take it too seriously. Very first one is Midnight Horror Show by Ben Lathrop. This one is set around Halloween and it is so freaking cool. I'm amazed that more people haven't talked about this one. It starts off with a really gruesome murder, and there's a detective who is trying to solve that murder, and he doesn't have any leads. There's not a lot to go on. The only lead he really has is the host of the Midnight Horror Show, who's been dead for years. He actually had burned to death at his own show years and years before. That's the only lead he really has. Otherwise, there's one other lead who is like this really awkward teenage kid. And this teenager is just like kind of hell-bent on keeping that host's memory alive. And he just has this obsession with the macabre and, all that. So he's kind of like the likely suspect. Other than that, this detective really has no leads. It's primarily set in the 80s, but it also skips back to the 60s. It had everything I need in horror. It has the creature feature, it has gore, it has really gruesome kills, it has occult horror, it has body horror, and I mean really gruesome body horror. It has everything that I could possibly want, and it was nice and twisted. There were things in this that I did not see coming. There were really some great twists in here, and obviously this is set in the small towns. You have that small town horror. I believe I said this in my original review, but if you love horror movies at all, and if you love horror at all, this is a must read. This is one of those I was obsessed with. I love it so much, and next Halloween, Halloween-a-thon, this is going to be the book that I would highly recommend reading for Halloween time. It is excellent. Next up is Hungerstone by Dunn. Obsessed. I love this book so much. I put it off reading for too long. I finally got it and was so freaking excited. This is a feminist retelling of Carmilla, and it was so freaking satisfying. It's so gothic. I just ate it up. I love that it was kind of a slower burn. I like that it took a little bit to get going. I just savored it. I couldn't get enough of it. It was so freaking satisfying. The husband in this, I couldn't freaking stand him. I could not freaking stand him. If you read this, I don't think you'll be able to stand him either. But this is full of just female rage, and I couldn't get enough. When I finished this book, I immediately wanted to start it over, and I immediately wanted to know what else was out there with this exact vibe. And I just needed more of this. Just give me everything with this exact vibe, because it was just exquisite. Next we have Guillotine by Delilah S. Dawson. This is rich people drama meets horror, and it is amazing. This follows Des, who is really into fashion. She wants a leg up in the fashion world. She doesn't know anybody in fashion. She grew up pretty poor, and she starts dating this guy who is pretty awful. She thinks she can date him long enough to meet his mom, who is editor-in-chief at this fashion magazine. She's thinking, I could put up with him long enough, meet his mom, get into the fashion world, whatever. He invites her to a weekend at his family's island, like island estate. They own a whole freaking island. And she goes because, you know, again, she's putting up with him. And let me tell you, this island and this whole estate is so freaking opulent and so extravagant. And she finds herself in this whole world of luxury. Okay, so while they're at this island, that just so happens to be the time that the servants have chosen to strike back. They've been planning this for a while. They've had enough of the whole family, and that's their moment. They're gonna strike back, and it is brutal. So brutal. This whole book is excellent. It's so satisfying. You're wrapped in this whole world of luxury that is so lush and so opulent, where these people are getting exactly what they deserve. And it is amazing. The kills are very original. They are absolutely freaking brutal. They're just horrific. And they're really good. I had the absolute best time reading this. It was very satisfying and just a really fun time. And I know that sounds really weird, but it was great. And just the whole world built within this was just great. And it's a pretty short read. Like, I really wanted it to go on forever because I was just having the best freaking time. Sorry, I had to readjust. It's very uncomfortable on the floor. Next is The Despicable Fantasies of Quentin Sergenov by Preston Fassel. I read this one for Old School April, and I was absolutely obsessed with it. So this one follows Quentin, of course, and this is a dual timeline. One is the timeline of the 90s when he was a professional wrestler, where he shared a forbidden love with Wave, who was another professional wrestler and his rival. Not giving anything away there, it's all in the back of the book. I'm being, like I said, being very careful of spoilers. The second timeline is in 2002, where Quentin has been turned into a dinosaur. And so you're going back and forth between the two timelines of like what happened to his professional wrestling career and also how he got to be where he is now. So you're going back and forth. You know, as you know, back in the 90s, you know, gay relationships were pretty frowned upon. They weren't really accepted. And, you know, this has a lot of commentary on that. And this is just so good. It's exactly what I needed. I never knew how much I needed this book. It is full of just violence and gore and vengeance and revenge. It's also full of just 90s references. I especially love the freaking Pretty in Pink reference. It's so friggin' excellent. It's also got, you know, obviously it has commentary on homophobia, and it also talks about love, acceptance, and identity. And it's funny in a lot of parts, and then it's sad in a lot of parts. And it's just so satisfying. If you like quirky books that are a little offbeat, I think you would really enjoy this. It's nice and weird. Is it perfectly written? No, but I did not care. I didn't care because the story was so cool and so original and just kept me with it. I could not stop reading this. I could do an entire novel on this book and these characters. I was absolutely obsessed. It's just perfection. I love it so much. Next up is A Botanical Daughter by Noah Medlock. This is a Frankenstein retelling. We have a gay couple living in Victoria, London, and then again, gay relationships were unacceptable. So they are living in a greenhouse hidden away from society, and the setting is absolute perfection. So this couple is Simon and Gregor. So Simon works on taxidermy and Gregor works with exotic plants. Gregor discovers this fungus. He discovers a mycelium that can moderate light and sort of has a mind of its own. He decides to use a human body as a substrate. like randomly, casually one day. He's like, yeah, I think I'm gonna use this human body as a substrate, just super casually. It's really funny the way he says it, because it's just so chill how he says it. It's like it's an everyday occurrence. I did an entire reading vlog on this, like a spring reading vlog. I'll link it down below because I go into a lot more detail on this book, but to me it felt very cozy. It did have some horror elements. They came out of nowhere, not over the top, but this felt very cozy. The scene, the setting was just very botanical. Botanical daughter, of course. It was very floral. It felt very spring. Even though it goes through multiple seasons, it felt very spring to me. They also have a housekeeper named Jenny. This is very like found family. There are so many beautiful quotes in here on gay relationships, and so many beautiful quotes in here on family. And also there are a lot of references to the original Frankenstein, and how it ties in is just perfect. And it also goes into that argument of who is the real monster, like the original Frankenstein. And I just think it is just perfect. It's, I believe, my favorite retelling of Frankenstein that I've ever read, which is saying a lot because I've read a lot of them. In the original vlog, I go into a lot of the quotes that were mentioned, and I go into more specifics on why I love this so much. But the commentary on gay relationships and all of that was just, there were so many beautiful quotes in here that I just love so much. To me, it's a masterpiece. It's weird, it's quirky, it's gonna take an open mind. You need to have an open mind reading it, but if you like quirky books, I think you might really love it. And especially if you love like botanical horror. It's whimsical, it's bizarre, it's a whole world within these pages. The author did a great job setting the scene and creating these characters. I thought it was just wildly imaginative, and I thought the ending was absolutely poetic and just really beautiful. And I'm absolutely obsessed with it. I could read it over and over. I have a signed copy, so I couldn't write and annotate and just go all out, but I want to get another copy that I could really do that with because it was just gorgeous. Next, we have The Summer That Melted Everything by Tiffany McDaniel. You've heard me talk about this book a couple of times, so it's probably no surprise that it's on this list. Sorry, I had to readjust again. Okay, so this one, the father of the Bliss family puts like an ad in the paper inviting the devil to the town. And one day this little boy shows up. I want to say he's like 13. This little boy shows up, and he's like, the son of the Bliss family is the one who meets him. He's the one that finds him. And Saul, the little boy that shows up out of nowhere, he's like, oh, you know, I saw the ad in the paper, guess what, I'm the devil. I'm here. So the little boy, the kid from the Bliss family, takes Saul to his house, and he's like, hey dad, you remember you put the ad in the paper inviting the devil to the town? Well, this is him. His name is Saul. So the Bliss family are very sweet, and they're like, oh, this poor kid, he must be lost, you know, he must not know where his family is, like we need to take him in and care for him. Well, this town is small. It's a religious town, and it's a southern town, and they're also a little bit racist, or a lot racist, okay? This is a kind of a racist town. And Saul happens to be a black boy. So, yeah. There's also, whenever Saul shows up, a heat wave shows up with him. And this is a very hot heat wave. Like, it's pretty bad. So, yeah. This book teaches a lot of lessons. You know, heat brings out the worst in people, but even worse, fear brings out the absolute worst in people. This book ripped my freaking heart out. It did. It destroyed me. When I finished this book, I sat there silently for a little bit. I honestly didn't know what to read next. I was a mess. I was a mess after reading this one. I just was. It was so sad in places. Like I was a mess. This goes into family, loneliness, love, loss, death, life, religion, hate, obviously racism. Also, this was set in the 90s, so there's talk on the AIDS epidemic and homophobia. If you read it, it will absolutely 100% change how you look at life and death. It just will. The narrator talks about where he is now and also where he was then in the 90s. And let me tell you, I've never seen a more smooth transition when doing dual timeline ever. It was so freaking seamless. I've never seen it done so well ever between dual timelines. There's also some really cool symbolism involving color that was really cool. I was really impressed by that. I noticed that. I won't spoil that for you. I think you need to read it. But this one surprised me in more than one way. And you just need to read it. I think everybody needs to read this book. It was so freaking good. Next one I want to talk about is James by Percival Everett. My physical copy isn't here yet. I read this one through the library in December. So this one snuck in. This is a retelling of Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. And I hadn't read Huckleberry Finn in a long time, but I do remember it very well because I read it for school and I had to do a whole report on it. This is told from Jim's point of view, and if you have read Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, then you know that Jim was the slave. So Jim overhears that he's about to be sold, and it's going to take him from his wife and his daughter, and he runs away so that he can come up with a plan. He can try to figure out what to do. At the same time, Huck has faked his own death, so they both end up on a raft down the Mississippi River. This book was freaking brilliant. The characters, the plot, the history. I can't even, my words and my review is not going to do this book justice. It's just not. It had a huge impact on me emotionally. It had a huge impact on me, I can't even tell you the impact that this book had on me. This is another one that made me cry. This is another one that made me feel so deeply and made me so attached to these characters. It deals with some very heavy topics and some hard topics, but it does so in a gentle way. It's powerful and it packs a punch, and you do feel it, and you're there, and I could see the scenes and I could feel the scenes, but it handled those topics in a way that wasn't too harsh, if that makes sense. But they were very important topics, and they were handled very well, if that makes sense at all. They were handled very, very well. It was still very raw, and it was still very emotional and very real, but it was handled with care. Yeah, and respect. It was handled with care and respect, and I just thought it was so well done. Jim is such an amazing character, and he's one of my top favorite characters ever. I love Jim so much, and I'm not going to tell you anything that happens. I'm not going to tell you anything that happens ever in the book, but it blew me away. I was surprised. There were lots of surprises, but just know going into it, it does deal with some heavy topics, and I do think it's very much worth reading and worth your time. I'm not going to go into it a whole lot. I feel like a lot of people have reviewed this book, and I'm not going to repeat everything everybody has said, but it's as good as what people say it is. It's really good. Next up is B-Movie Bloodbath by Isaac Nightingale. This is not the author's real name, but freaking excellent. So Knight is locked up in prison for a crime he didn't commit, and he is young when this happens. He's 19. He's beaten by these vampires, and the other person was murdered, and even though he was beaten too, nobody believes that he was actually a victim. Nobody believes that somebody else did this. So he does time, And so many crazy freaking things happen in prison. Like, he did a few years. So many wild things happened. So he gets out of prison. Now he has this super serum hot sauce running through his veins. You would have to read the book to find out how he got the hot sauce, because that is a whole nother story and it is freaking crazy, okay? I'm not going to give away how that happened, but it says on the back that he has the hot sauce, so I'm not giving anything away. Okay, so he gets out. He has a taste for vengeance. He's like, I'm going to get those jerks. I'm going to get them, like, I'm going to get my revenge. He meets so many wild and, like, colorful characters when he gets out. And yeah, this is an adventure. This is a thicker book, but it is worth it. So wild, so hilarious. If you read this, like, you're gonna love Knight and you're gonna feel for him. You're gonna root for him the entire time, like I did, I'm sure. There's also a playlist, and each song was the song that inspired each chapter, if that makes sense. So that's really fun. Yeah, there were so many fun characters, so many characters that I, like, really got attached to. So many crazy things happened. And the bottom it says, vampires, flesh-melting skin stealers, neo-Nazi prison gangs, an old-ass fortune teller, a Texan gunslinger, a wheelchair-bound werewolf, 2 haunted revolvers, and one hell of a road trip for revenge. I was so freaking obsessed with this book that I immediately went and got the second book, which is Neon Nightmares. And both of the, like, I didn't do any sequels on this list, but both of them would have made the list. So we'll just say both of them, like, for this spot. So I'm obsessed with both of these. He's working on book 3. I don't know when it's going to be done, but obsessed with this series. Book 2 was bonkers too. It was so crazy. Such a wild story. Like, they are just so fun to read. They're an absolute adventure. Like I said, so many crazy over-the-top things happen, and it's freaking wild. Love the characters so much. It's just bonkers. It's absolutely bonkers. So yeah, B-Movie Bloodbath is book 1, and Neon Nightmares is book 2. But B-Movie Bloodbath is the one that is in this spot. So freaking good. We have Anna Karenina by Leo Tolstoy. This is the one that is not horror that made this list. It's heavy. It's a chunky book. This is one of those that took me a while to read. TBR Game chose it. I'm so glad it did. On one hand, I wish I had read it sooner. On the other hand, I'm glad I waited until this point in my life to read it, because I appreciate it so much more with life experiences. So maybe it's one of those that you're going to get different things out of it at different stages in your life, because I understand the characters more now that I have life experience. I'm sure everybody knows this story at this point. Everybody feel like probably has watched at least one of the movies, or at least knows the story at this point. So I'm not going to go into, like, everything that this book is about. You know, it's a love story. It's a tragedy. It's a human study. It's about religion, politics, Russian society, farming, human behavior, women's rights, city life versus country life, love, hate, jealousy, death. I made so many notes and highlights in this book because there were so many beautiful quotes. I got really attached to a lot of the characters in here. You know, I took the entire month to read this. It's one of those that I really wanted to, like, sink into. I wanted to really enjoy it and really just take my time. It's one of those, like, I think is really worth your time. It doesn't matter if it takes you a month, 2 months, 6 months, a year. It doesn't matter. Take your time with it. Enjoy it. Make notes. Jot things down. Like, really sink into it. I think it's really worth it. I really enjoyed it. It's layered with a lot of complex relationships and complex themes and feelings. It's absolutely gorgeous and heartbreaking at the same time. It came to me at, like, the perfect time. It really did. I do have my favorite characters. I really loved Levin, but also really understand Anna and understand, like, what leads her on her path. Like, I just get it. So But yeah, I could go on and on. Like, I could do a whole vlog on this book and like really explain all the different themes and really explain like all my annotations and all the different meanings. But like, this isn't the video for that. But yeah, I just really loved it. It came to me at like I said, the perfect time. And lastly is Boys Live by Robert McCammon. Yeah, so this boy and his dad are riding along the road one day. Dad's driving, of course, and they witness a car plunge into the river. And Dad tries to save the guy, but it's very obvious that the guy has been murdered, so he doesn't make it. Well, the dad who tried to save him, like, his life is completely changed because of this. It really deeply affects him. Not only that, but like the whole town is kind of in turmoil over this. Like, they're trying to figure out what happened. They're trying to figure out, like, you know, who the murderer is and all this stuff. Well, these boys, the boy who was riding in the car and like his friends and stuff, like they're kind of like thrown off by it too. But this book really though is about, like, it's a coming of age novel. It's about growing up and kind of realizing that life isn't as innocent as they thought, and people aren't as innocent as they thought, and just all the situations aren't as innocent. But I mean, there's a lot more to it than that. I'm simplifying it a great deal. These boys, like, of course, they have a lot of, you know, adventures and stuff, but it's a chunky book. No pages wasted. It's so good. It's become one of my favorites ever. It's just exquisite. This is another one that's on my list of books that have like completely ripped my freaking heart out in more than one spot. I mean, like, ugly cry, like, really, really got to me. And any book that can make me feel that deeply is a book that deserves to be on this list. It is so good. From the point of view of these kids and how they're viewing everything, and also this like town, and you get to introduce to different characters within the town and different situations, and there's some really wild things that happen within this town. But from the point of view of these kids, and just how they view the world and how they view their town and how they view like the situations, this is definitely about like just growing up, like I said. And this is just, if you love coming of age stories, I highly recommend it. I don't know how this can be considered horror. I don't really think this is really considered horror. I classify it as horror because it doesn't have little mild horror elements, but I don't think it's really considered horror. But really excellent. I'll post my original vlog down below where I talked about this one because I really go into more details there, but just a must read if you like coming of age stories. Really good. Those are all 10. Let me know down in the comments, what was your top book of 2025? I would love to know. I will see you next week. Bye for now.